Hi, my name's Harith, and welcome to my channel. Honestly, I'm just venting. Um, I've come to realize that recording while playing games is a little bit difficult. Um, or should I say that the other way around? Playing games while recording is makes gaming a little bit more difficult. It adds a level of difficulty to it because you're aware that you're talking to yourself, but also talking to somebody that is not presently there with you in the moment, which is a bit of a mind fuck. It's crazy. The other thing that messes with it is the fact that if you're looking for at least half decent lighting, then you usually have a light shining in your face. I could do this and then I don't have any sort of lighting on me, which does what it does, right? Oh, hmm. One second. Not sure why that's not playing. Regardless, that's why. All right. Having a thought process and commentating it's just it ain't simple. It ain't simple. And sometimes it is simple, but it's not easy, right? So there's a level of difficulty. Um, is there a purpose to this video? Absolutely not. So if you end up watching, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Literally just venting, saying whatever comes to mind. Ouch, they got rid of my damage maker. I was hoping I could get through that first. Shame. But yeah, I haven't been able to upload the same quality or, make thumbnails the same way as I was in the last couple of weeks because I ended up getting well, not getting a job, but getting back to work in the contracting where currently working on installing a handicap elevator to the 54th branch of the Legion. It's a really nice building, but it's an old building and it needs some TLC. I don't know how we're gonna build up some uh an elevator. We don't really have an engineer for that. We really should get one. I recommend it, but my boss is, the boss is the boss, you know? Cool. Another wave of dailies completed. I signed up for that. Save again. The next expensive one. I'm going for the Mandalorians. I'm going for um Bo-Katan Mandalore. So I need them. They're gonna be the expensive ones, so I don't see any Kairos on yours. Still no Cairo. That's good. Nice. And then I think with your leadership, that's irrelevant. I'm not gonna apply that. Um, Protection up is relevant to health, I would think, right? I think. I think. I'm not sure. We're gonna find out. 22,000. Not 200%, I guess, of what it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Speed primary. Ooh, 10 speed. That's a good one. 8 speed's half decent as well. 5 speed. 10 speed. Not fantastic, but it'll do. It'll do. I really should put more focus onto my mods. I really don't do that enough. 45k and 30k. 187. Not bad. It's okay. It's a good addition. All right. So we got her 211. We got him 211. And mods are... His mods should be just tenacity. I have one tenacity mod. That's not good. They're all unlocked. Yeah, speed's completed. No? I've ignored the mods quite a bit. If that's the case, my goodness. Shame on me. Cool. Don't care. Oh, right. And because we're adding a elevator, we're adding a handicap bathroom upstairs. Yeah, I mangled myself because we had to take out a wall because it was like a little storage room. So the storage room was getting replaced elsewhere. But oh man, I mangled myself bad because the one wall was not really held in very well. So I was like standing on the side of it because it was like an open wall, and Buddy knocked it to disconnect it, and it wasn't exactly paying attention. So it kind of lost its balance, and I'm like, and I couldn't pull myself out, and it boom. So it beat me down, kind of shoved me over with my leg over, right? And then fortunately it didn't fall straight to the ground because we didn't move the tables over enough. So the table got pushed over by the wall. Just drywall and wood studding. So it's not even a super heavy wall. It was just off balance wrong. So anyway, it was going down. It was going down. And then one of the chairs fell off of the table and the legs were crushed by the wall, which I was able to pull my leg out so the wall didn't land directly on my leg. Sideways. Yeah, that would have been bad. Anyway, it did mangle my leg a little bit, my knees a little bit bruised and such, but nothing too bad. Didn't pull any tendons or anything. And then genius that I am, I have a trailer back here that I filled with garbage because the backyard needed to be mucked out from the previous tenant. So anyway, we go and muck it out, and we throw it into this trailer. My dad goes to hook up the trailer, but before we hook up the trailer, we add a tarp to the top just to like hold everything down. I didn't think of the trailer hitch, so I end up walking right through the trailer hitch and kicking the trailer hitch with my leg, going kick, 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 smack, my scrawny little leg smashing the steel 3 times. So now I got like 3 or 4 marks and more bruising on my shin. Like, I'm an absolute genius. And anyway, I fall over and my dad's like, "Did I hear that happen?" I'm like, I'm glad you didn't see that happen. You just started laughing, and I'm like, well, I'm serious, but for real. Yeah, I made some goofy mistakes, and why is Vader in this? That's weird. I'm having more troubles in this one than I had in the last one. Full auto, I guess. Usually I look on getting rid of him because he just keeps attacking a million times. At least get a daze on him, then he can stop retaliating or bonus attack or whatever it is, you know? Stuck behind the taunt. Unfortunate. So, my YouTube channel is nearly 2 years old, right? Some of you may or may not know. And that includes my, well, not my free-to-play roster. This roster here is only, what, 28 weeks old? 26, no, 24 weeks old. It will be 25 on Wednesday, Thursday. On my main account, the Anti-Galactic Legend account, it will be 2 years old at the end of July, I believe. So one of the goals for my channel from year 2 to year 3 is to finish my playthroughs. I have a couple of playthroughs, one of Jedi Fallen Order and one of Bloodborne. I would like to finish them so that at least I have those full playthroughs on my YouTube channel. There's a couple other playthroughs I'd like to get through. Are you standing over a... Wow, they're standing over a pit. This is a guaranteed win. Wow, distracted. I got distracted. So anyway, I'd like to get those two channels up to, or those two playthroughs up to, oh, that was close. I'd like to get those two playthroughs completed. As well, on this Star Wars journey, I would like to maybe get a couple of videos out of what I've learned over the last couple of years, matchups that work against Galactic Legends, why some matchups don't work against Galactic Legends. Some people say I'm an idiot and I don't pay attention. I do pay attention. I'm just a kinesthetic learner, so I learn by trial and error, and reading a million hours of text is not going to make me understand what is actually happening. I'm sorry. That's not how I run. Anyway, with that, I'd like to at least get a couple of videos on what I've learned and what matchups work for me. There's a couple of matchups where I don't want to say they're guaranteed or anything like that, but they're effective. They're very effective. And then I'm going to try a few different things with this account too. So this is my free play account, right? And it's 25 weeks. There's 56 in a year. So I'm about halfway, almost there. And I haven't achieved either of the things I'm looking to gain. So I'm looking to get Bo-Katan Mandalore. Yeah, I can get her pretty soon. And then I'm going towards Executor with this count. From there, like I've mentioned a dozen times, I'm either going to go towards Galactic Legend Leia or Galactic Legend Sith Eternal. I should probably put up a poll to see what people think about that one. But the poll gets odd results because people start voting for stuff that I'm like, okay, but you don't know my account, do you? And then yeah, I don't know why I put those kind of options up. I want to try this only because he gives a million 50% counter chance and 40% defense. And recover health. So I'm guessing when they counter, it's a basic attack, so they recover health when they do that, right? I would assume. I'm not exactly sure. There's something else that I recently got into, believe it or not. A couple of months ago, I ended up starting to play Minecraft. Now, a lot of people would think, "Oh yeah, you watched a movie or something like that, and you got inspired or whatever." I'm like, I still haven't. I know about this Minecraft movie, but it had nothing to do with my desire to play Minecraft. I just remember, while somebody was playing it on a video that I was watching, they were talking about nostalgia, and I'm like, well, last time I played Minecraft was in like 2012. So how much has it changed? And it's been an explosive journey of changes. Um, it's not the game it once was when I remember it 10 plus years ago. The other thing is I'm still trying to figure out who I is. I'm in therapy for that as well as other issues that I'm dealing with. And as somebody who's approaching their 30s, I'm kind of at a point where I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing with my life. I'm making these channels partly as a passion project, partly because if I get to enough subscribers, I get a partnership, I could get potential income. Not that it would be a big income. Nobody actually gets really massive income from YouTube alone, but something for the passion that I put out would be interesting. Um, I would like to take over my grandfather's business as well, but I need to work on some issues with licensing problems, because he kind of lives out in the bush. The other the other thing is like, is that really what I want for myself, or is it just that I don't want his legacy to die? And then what do I actually want for myself? I also go to jujitsu 3 times a week when I'm not all fucked up. Um, and jujitsu is quite the passion thing, but I also talked to my sensei about um, having classes in the fall for white belts or beginners, right? So because I personally have a really good ability to teach people at jujitsu, um, I've offered to put in some time, and if I get paid for my time, right, then I can teach the white belt so that they can get their basics and their foundation in the jujitsu game, understand the 4 positions, understand uh, transitions from those 4 positions and sequencing a little bit before they can get thrown into um, more advanced classes where Chino doesn't have to focus on those foundations for them, or interrupt somebody else's class or like my classes so I can focus more on my game when I'm under him, as opposed to focusing constantly on that new white belt and going on my foundation, because my foundation is pretty solid. I know the 4 positions really well, and I know how to get from the 4 positions, and I've done this enough times. I've done all the repetition for it, but take a breath, boy. I'd like to show the white belts what they need to learn so that they're not intimidated to um, come into more advanced classes, but they also have a little bit of a foundation. Um, yeah, I would never want to undercut my sensei in any way, shape, or form. I would be wanting to borrow the mats that are already there and utilize them in a time that he won't be using them, right? I have an odd relationship with money. Not that I have a problem with money. Like if you have lots of money, then so be it. You did well for yourself. But I don't seem to um seek or desire money in my own way, sense, or form. And I understand it's a tool and it's something that should be utilized, and maybe I should prioritize it a little bit more because I am struggling in life because I don't care about money at all in a society where money runs the world. But I'm kind of stuck in this kind of position where even when I do try and go and like get money, I need to find a way to get money where it doesn't make me feel icky. I've tried going into the insurance industry, but that is, oh man, that is such a dirty water industry. It's gross. It's, yeah, their water is about as clear as mud. Um, it's no wonder why people hate insurance industries. Um, but I'm not going to get into it. NDAs and other reasons for that, but um, it's not that some insurance companies don't provide really good insurance. It's the problem that insurance itself as um as an industry is in very gray waters because um something can be considered a claim depending on certain variables, but other things are not considered moral. And then you like really ride a gray line on what's moral and what's not moral, and then um, what's appropriate, and then what insurances push on, and like, yeah, and then like, don't get started on the acts of God thing as well. Like, oh my gosh, I'm sure there are some good companies out there that try not to ride on those gray morals, and the company I worked for didn't seem that sleazy, I guess, for lack of better terms. Um, but I had a hard time with interrupting somebody else's day of making money and making their own day to ask them for money for a promise. Hey, I know you're working hard, but may I interrupt your day? Are you insured? And they're like, what do you mean? Well, if you stop working because something, God forbid, happens to you, are you insured? And then it's like, well, there are better ways of approaching and blah 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 blah. But that's not the point. The point is this person's, you know, doing the thing that they need to do, right? Like they're trying to make money in their own day, and you're interrupting them to be like, hey man, I need to make sure you're protected. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't feel right to me. And then another thing as to why I left the company, and I'm not going to put names here either. Um, it's just because like I asked them why wouldn't we get ourselves involved into pushing out and doing like call outs or advertisements online, and they're like, well, we don't need to. And I'm like, well, isn't that one of the arguments of like an insurance person? Like they're like no want, no need, no rush, and whatever the other thing is, I forget it at this point. But like with all of that, wouldn't it make sense that before you need to go online that you would get something online, right? And this was all before like the COVID time. So like right before that, all that happened, I'm pushing for these, and I'm like, man, we got to get ourselves online. We got to push it so that we can get ourselves digital. And then when all of that hit, I'm like, can I get some, at least some recognition for like trying to push for something ahead of time, and then they set all this stuff up, and I'm like, I would really like to, and they're like, well, we can't because of moral reasons, blah blah blah, until after COVID. Then all of a sudden it's okay to go online, and I'm like, what the hell? And then I got a little frustrated with the company and ran away. So insurance sucks, cities suck. I have a lot of respect for the blue collar workers because they bust their asses off as well, and I can't keep up with those guys, I guess, in that manner. Um, I get bored, and then I lose interest and go on to something else. A lot of respect for the blue collar workers, though. Like they keep the world running. Um, I just needed to find something else. Then I'm also a little bit creative with my writing sometimes, but because I'm a little bit too creative with my writings, I've been hospitalized for it. Which, let me tell you, getting hospitalized for writing something is not just absurd but otherworldly, man. Um, I was put into the insane asylum basically for a total of, I don't know, it was like 70 something days. Yeah, it was not fun. It really sucked. Um, I I hated every minute of it, but I didn't act out. I did what I could to, I don't know, play the good citizen. They really did misdiagnose me because I just lied and said whatever they wanted out of me, from me, and I'm like, yeah, 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 no, I'm fine, yeah, everything's good, yeah, 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 yeah. No, blah blah blah. Like, I lied my way out of the hospital, and I'm not proud of saying that, but I did do that. Um, Actually, I feel pretty disgusted for saying that, but it's what I did. So I got a really bad misdiagnosis, and I'm like, okay, well, in order to get a proper diagnosis, I'm gonna go have to be honest with somebody, right? So who am I gonna be honest with, where I can actually get a proper diagnosis and like not not fell away, you know? Um, and so I ended up getting a really high quality psychologist. Psychiatrists are the ones that give you drugs, right? So I got a psychologist, and I spent a whole like 6 or 9 weeks or something crazy like that. Sorry, shoved the mic into my face. 6 or 9 months or whatever. Not no, not months. Jeez, Nathan, come on, get your shit together. I spent like 6 weeks going back to her, getting therapy for an hour a week, and then having a whole bunch of questionnaires, filling out questions and stuff like that. And the diagnosis she gave me when I was 18 years old, 19 maybe at the most, was STPD and definitely PTSD. So you guys might have misheard me, and you're like, what? Did you just say the same thing twice, or did you just misspeak once, or like what? So, for anybody who doesn't know what I just said, PTSD is post traumatic stress disorder, and that I have from very most likely the essay that I suffered as a child. Um, Horrible things happened. Not getting into that in this. And then the other thing is STPD, which is schizotypal personality disorder. So if you were to look at schizophrenia as a spectrum, it would be on the lower end of the spectrum, right? So schizophrenia is like this bar, let's say, for example. Where are we? This bar. Now, full blown schizophrenia is on this end here, because it's mirrored for me, is on this end, and you're completely psychotic. Whereas here is low end schizophrenia, and you just kind of have some symptoms of it and some risks of it potentially getting worse depending on what your symptoms are and how you treat it, and on if you treat it, if you're medicated for it or not, and all that other stuff. So when I was diagnosed, I was basically put right here at the bottom of it. Now, that was about a decade ago, so there's a possibility because I did not treat it and I have not been on medication and I have been smoking weed for the last 12 years. 12 years. I've been smoking weed for 12 years. There's a very high possibility that I have gone up on the spectrum and I'm over here. Um, there are certain things that have gotten worse, and I do smoke an absurd amount of weed. So there are certain um, symptoms of STPD where it's probably more just like weed symptoms. So I do need to cut down on the amount of weed that I smoke, which is not a big deal. It's just weed. That's not what governments think, but I'm Canadian, so that's that. Um, why am I venting so much on in this? I don't know, cause I can. You guys are gonna get to know me a lot. So what? Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing? Honestly, this is a legit honest question. I've been venting for half an hour. Thank you very much for watching and listening this far. Is it a good or bad thing that I've vented about all this stuff? Like, this is some really personal stuff too. So, what is the worst that can happen? Somebody gonna blackmail me? It'd be like, give me your money, and I'm like, dude, I have no money to give you. Somebody gonna come and break into my home? Cool. You know what the Bible says? You're breaking into my home for food, then I'll cook you a meal. Why are you breaking in, dude? Just ask for a meal. Other than that, like, I don't really have much to lose. This is this is who I am. Of all the things I've lost, I miss my mind the most. And that is probably the best way to summarize this whole video and who I am. I think I'm gonna end it there. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. And we'll get back to the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content in the next video. I hope you enjoyed.